The baby's wail pierced the heavy silence of the old farmhouse like a siren's call, raw and unrelenting, as if the walls themselves were gasping for air. Grandpa Harlan's hand trembled mid-reach toward the crib, his gnarled fingers brushing the edge where little Alex lay, red-faced and furious, oblivious to the storm brewing in the room. "Oh God, what have you done?" Hunter's mother, Evelyn, whispered, her voice cracking like thunder as she clutched the stack of letters, her eyes widening in horror at the truth spilling from ink-stained pages no one had dared to open in 60 years. In the heart of rural Nebraska, where endless cornfields whispered secrets to the wind under skies vast as forgotten promises, the Whitaker family farm stood like a sentinel against time. It was the kind of place where Sundays meant pot roast and church pews worn smooth by generations, and love was measured in calloused hands and quiet sacrifices. Hunter Whitaker, 32, with his broad shoulders from baling hay and eyes the color of storm clouds, had always called this soil home. He'd left for the city once, chasing dreams in Omaha's neon haze, but love, fierce, unyielding love, had dragged him back. That love was Dylan, his husband of 5 years, a graphic designer with ink-stained fingers and a laugh that could thaw the iciest February dawn. They'd met in a dive bar off Dodge Street, Hunter nursing a beer after a brutal day at the co-op, Dylan sketching strangers on a napkin under the dim glow of a Budweiser sign. "You look like you could use a story," Dylan had said, sliding onto the stool beside him, his dark curls falling over hazel eyes that sparkled with mischief. Hunter, guarded as a locked barn door, had grunted something non-committal. But Dylan's words wove through his defenses like ivy, tales of New York grit and California sunsets, laced with a vulnerability that mirrored Hunter's own hidden aches. By closing time, they'd stumbled into the night, hands brushing, hearts racing, the first kiss tasting of whiskey and possibility. Now, with their son Alex just 6 months old, adopted from a overwhelmed teen mom in Lincoln, the farm felt fuller, alive with the chaos of bottles and midnight feedings. Dylan had traded his city loft for this life, trading freelance gigs for a home office in the converted tack room, where he'd design logos for local breweries between diaper changes. "This is us now," he'd say, cradling Alex against his chest. Roots and all, Hunter would watch them from the doorway, his chest tight with a gratitude he couldn't voice, the kind that scared him because it was so damn deep. But shadows lingered in the Whitaker legacy. Grandpa Harlan, 87 and frail as autumn leaves, had moved into the downstairs bedroom after his stroke last spring. He was the rock of the family, the man who'd plowed these fields through Dust Bowl echoes and Vietnam drafts. His stories of the old days, laced with a stoic pride that bordered on myth. Evelyn, Hunter's mom, fussed over him like a hen with one chick, her own husband long gone to cancer when Hunter was 12. She lived in the big house too, her days a rhythm of baking pies and tending the Victory Garden, her nights spent poring over farm ledgers by lamplight. It started innocently enough, that sweltering July afternoon when the heat hung like a fever dream. Alex had been fussy all morning, his tiny fists balled against the humidity, and Dylan had taken him out to the porch swing for some shade. Hunter was in the barn, wrestling with a stubborn tractor, sweat carving rivers down his back. Evelyn had gone up to the attic for Harlan's old war medals, something about a county fair display, when she stumbled on a dusty trunk wedged behind a stack of National Geographics. The trunk was locked, but the key hung on a nail nearby, rusted but serviceable. Curiosity, that old devil, won out. Inside lay bundles of letters tied with twine, yellowed photographs, and a leather journal cracked like parched earth. Evelyn's breath caught as she untied the first bundle, the paper brittle under her fingers. The handwriting was Harlan's, bold loops and sharp angles, but the salutations hit her like a gut punch. My dearest Elias, and forever yours, in this life and the next. Elias. The name echoed faintly in her memory, a ghost from her childhood tales. Uncle Elias, Harlan's war buddy, the one who'd vanished after the war, swallowed by the city's maw without a trace. But these weren't letters between comrades. They were love letters, raw and poetic, spilling confessions of stolen nights in foxholes and promises etched under starlit skies. I dream of your hands on me, rough as the Kansas wind, gentle as rain. One read. Another, if they knew, they'd string us up, but damn if I care, you're my North Star. Eli. Evelyn's hands shook as she flipped through the photos. Harlan and Elias, young and grinning in fatigues, arms slung around each other. A candid of them dancing in a dimly lit barn. Elias's head on Harlan's shoulder. A faded Polaroid from the 50s, both older, suits pressed, standing too close on a city sidewalk. The journal entries sealed it. Pages of torment and joy. Harlan's voice cracking through decades. Married Mary to keep the whispers at bay, but it's you I see in the dark. God help me. I betrayed us all. She didn't hear the attic stairs creak under her retreat. Didn't register the trunk left ajar. Downstairs, she paced the kitchen, the letters clutched to her chest like contraband. Harlan was napping in the living room, the baby monitor humming softly beside his chair. Alex stirred in his playpen nearby, cooing at a rattle shaped like a tractor. Evelyn sank onto the couch, tears blurring the ink. Her father, gay? The word felt foreign, a city vice unfit for this holy ground. And the betrayal to her mother, to the family, to the farm that demanded straight lines and straight lives. The screen door banged open, Dylan sweeping in with Alex in his arms. The baby's cheeks flushed from the heat. Hey! You seen Hunter? That man's gonna bake out there. His smile faded at her ashen face. Whoa! What's wrong? You look like you swallowed a lemon whole. She thrust the letters at him, words tumbling out in a whisper shout. It's Dad. These are from Elias. They were lovers. All this time, he lied. To Mom. To us. How could he? Dylan's eyes scanned the top letter. His designer's eye-catching the elegant script, the intimate turns of phrase. He rocked Alex gently, buying time, his own heart twisting. As a gay man in this town, he'd navigated the stairs, the bless your hearts, from church ladies, the way folks crossed the street at the pride float. But Harlan, the old man who'd clapped him on the back at the wedding, welcome to the family, son. With a gruff warmth that felt like acceptance, this changed everything. Before he could respond, Alex let out a piercing cry, twisting in Dylan's arms as if sensing the fracture. Harlan stirred in his chair, eyes fluttering open. What's all the ruckus? He mumbled, voice gravelly from sleep. Evelyn whirled, the letters scattering like confetti. You tell me, Dad, what the hell is this? She snatched one up, waving it like a flag of surrender. Harlan's face drained of color, his hand groping for the armrest. Alex's wails escalated, a symphony of innocence amid the ruin. Dylan stepped forward, trying to bridge the chasm. Harlan, Easy. Let's talk. But Evelyn was already dialing, her phone trembling in her grip. I'm calling 911. This could kill you, Dad. The shock. Your heart. Her voice broke as the operator picked up. Yes. Emergency, my father's having a spell. Farm on County Road 12. Hurry. Please. Sirens wailed in the distance as Hunter burst through the door, grease-streaked and bewildered. The truth hung in the air like smoke, thick and choking, binding them all in a web of secrets long buried. Little Alex's cries echoed off the rafters, a baby's lament for a family on the brink of shattering. Hunter dropped to his knees beside his grandpa, the man who'd taught him to drive stick shift on these back roads, who'd shared moonshine stories under the Milky Way. Pop, talk to me. Harlan's eyes met his, glassy with a lifetime's weight, and in that gaze, Hunter saw not shame, but a quiet plea for understanding, a love hidden, but never extinguished. As the paramedics swarmed in, lights flashing across the cornstalks, Dylan held Alex close, whispering, "It's okay, buddy. We're okay." But deep down, he knew the real storm was just beginning. The letters had unearthed more than Harlan's past. They'd cracked open the fragile vessel of their present, threatening to drown them all in waves of what-ifs and whys. That night, after Harlan was stabilized at the county hospital, mild arrhythmia, they said, brought on by stress, the family gathered in the waiting room, plastic chairs squeaking under their exhaustion. Evelyn sat ramrod straight, arms crossed, her face a mask of betrayal. He should have told us. All those years pretending, while Mom suffered alone after whatever this was. Hunter rubbed his temples, the fluorescent buzz drilling into his skull. Mom, it's not that simple. Back then, they could have lost everything. The farm, their lives. He glanced at Dylan, who nodded subtly, his hand squeezing Hunter's knee under the armrest, a silent anchor in the chaos. Dylan cleared his throat, choosing words like brushstrokes on canvas. I read more on the way here. Elias wasn't just a buddy. He was Harlan's everything. They met in basic training. 42. Wrote through the war. Planned a life after. But when they came home, society had other ideas. Harlan married Grandma to fit in. But he and Elias kept seeing each other, in secret. Until Elias got scared, rumors of raids, jobs lost, and left for Chicago. Harlan never stopped loving him, though. The journal's full of it. Evelyn's lip quivered. And us? We were the cover story. No, Hunter said fiercely. You were his world. This doesn't erase that. But doubt gnawed at him, a worm in the apple of his childhood idols. The doctor emerged then, clipboard in hand. Mr. Whitaker's stable. He wants to see Hunter and Dylan. Evelyn's eyes narrowed, but she stayed put, waving them off with a curt nod. In the dim hospital room, Harlan looked smaller, tubes snaking from his arms like lifelines to a past he couldn't escape. Boys, he rasped, beckoning them closer. Alex, mercifully asleep in Dylan's carrier, provided a buffer of normalcy. I never meant for this to surface like that. Hunter pulled up a chair, voice steady despite the lump in his throat. Why hide it, Pop, from us? Harlan's laugh was a wheeze. Son, your generation thinks coming out's a parade. Mine? It was a grave. Elias and I, We stole what we could. Barn dances, road trips masked as fishing. But the world, it would have burned us. His gaze shifted to Dylan, softening. You too, you're what we dreamed of. Open, proud. Makes an old fool grateful. Dylan felt tears prick his eyes, the weight of unspoken kinship heavy. We love you, Harlan. All of you. As they left, Hunter lingered, pressing a kiss to his grandpa's forehead. Rest up. We'll figure this. Outside, under a sky bruised purple by twilight, Hunter leaned against the truck, Dylan beside him with Alex stirring awake. What now? Dylan murmured, nuzzling the baby's downy head. Hunter sighed, pulling them both close. We love harder. That's always been the Whitaker way. But as they drove home through fields silvered by moonlight, the letters burned in Hunter's mind like embers, hinting at deeper fires yet to ignite. The days blurred into a tense limbo, the farm's rhythm disrupted like a skipped heartbeat. Harlan came home after 2 nights in the hospital, propped up with pillows and prescriptions, his booming voice reduced to murmurs. Evelyn moved through the house like a ghost, cooking meals no one touched, her silence louder than any accusation. She'd boxed the letters in the attic, but the air hummed with their presence, an invisible fog that clung to every conversation. Hunter threw himself into work, dawn to dusk labors in the fields, the tractor's roar drowning out his thoughts. But at night, tangled in sheets with Dylan, the questions clawed free. Do you think Mom'll ever forgive him? He'd whisper, tracing the scar on Dylan's collarbone from a childhood bike wreck. Dylan, ever the optimist with an artist's soul, would press a kiss to Hunter's palm. Forgiveness isn't a light switch, babe. It's a slow burn. Give her time. But even he felt the strain, sketching absent-mindedly while Alex napped, his designs turning abstract, swirling forms that echoed hidden embraces, fractured lines like broken vows. One evening, as cicadas chorused their humid hymn, Harlan called Hunter to the porch. The old rocker creaked under their weight, mason jars of iced tea sweating on the rail. Fireflies danced like errant stars, and Alex babbled from his high chair inside, visible through the screen door. Need to clear the air. Boy, Harlan started, his hands folding and unfolding like prayer. Those letters. They ain't the whole story. Hunter nodded, waiting, the weight of expectation heavy as harvest. Elias and I met in 41. Fort Riley. I was 18, farm boy fresh off the bus. He was from Brooklyn, all sharp edges and quicker wit. Saved my ass in maneuvers, tripped a wire, pulled me clear. After that, it was us against the brass, the boredom, the bombs waiting overseas. Harlan's eyes distant, chasing ghosts. We shipped to Italy. 43. Anzio. Casino, the mud, the mortars. Nights in the trenches. We'd huddle, share smokes, dreams. One night, after a buddy bought it, Eli kissed me. Said, life's too short for half measures. I didn't pull away. Hunter leaned forward, riveted. And after, you came home heroes. Harlan snorted. Heroes? We came home hunted. GI Bill got me the farm expansion, but whispers followed. Folks knew something was off. Bachelors bun kin together, they said. Eli wanted to run, start fresh in California. Couldn't leave here. The land, your grandma's memory already fadin' from the war. He paused, voice thickening. Married her in 46. Good woman, Mary. Gave me your mom. Peace of mind. But Eli. We met when we could. Omaha motels. That cabin up in the sandhills. Until 62. He wrote saying he couldn't lie anymore. Joined some group in the city. Fightin' for rights. Left me with nothing but postcards that stopped comin'. The revelation landed like rain on dry earth, soaking in slow. Hunter thought of his own path, the terror of telling Evelyn at 25, the shotgun wedding joke from Uncle Ray that cut deeper than intended. You carried that alone. For us. For love, Harlan corrected gently. Same as you and Dylan. But I betrayed it, staying silent. When Mary passed in 85, I thought of joining him. Found out he died in 83 San Francisco. That sickness they called grid back then. AIDS, they say now. No funeral, no word. Just gone. Hunter's throat tightened, imagining the old man's vigil. A lifetime of what-ifs. I'm sorry, Pop. We could've. I don't know. Helped. Harlan clapped his shoulder. Grip firm despite the frailty. You are helpin'. Livin' true. That's more than I managed. Inside, Alex let out a joyful squeal. Dylan's laughter following like harmony. Harlan smiled faintly. That boy's got your fire, Hunter. And Dylan's heart. Cherish it. Word spread through the county like wildfire on dry grass. Whispers at the co-op. Sidelong glances at the diner. Heard Harlan's got skeletons. The feed store clerk muttered to Hunter over sacks of seed corn. Evelyn heard it too. Her bridge club dissolving into awkward pauses. One afternoon, she cornered Dylan in the kitchen. Flour dusted from pie crusts. Her apron tied tight as armor. You think this makes it right? She snapped, slamming a rolling pin down. Dad lying to Mom her whole marriage? She died thinking he hung the moon. Dylan measured sugar carefully, voice even. It doesn't make it right. But it makes him human. Love like that, it doesn't choose easy paths. She deflated, sinking onto a stool. I feel like I don't know him. Or us. Tears tracked through the flour on her cheeks. What if? What if that's why Dad never pushed Hunter to marry a girl? Knew the feelin'? Dylan's hand covered hers. Warm and steady. Maybe. Or maybe he just loved his grandson enough to let him be. That's the Harlan I know. That night, the conflict crested like a rogue wave. Hunter came in late, mud-caked from irrigation repairs, to find Evelyn and Harlan at the dining table, letters spread like a dealer's hand. Voices rose, sharp as scythes. You let him go. For what? This damn dirt. Evelyn hurled a photo across the table, Elias's smile mocking from sepia tones. Harlan's face crumpled. For you, Evie. For the family. Eli understood. Said it himself in the last letter. Build something real, Harlan. I'll haunt your dreams. Hunter froze in the doorway. Dylan behind him with Alex on his hip. The baby sensing the tempest and starting to whimper. Enough, Hunter growled, striding in. This ain't a courtroom. Pop. Mom, sit. He gathered the papers, his farmer's hands gentle, and began reading aloud, voice steady as plow lines. Passages of longing, of quiet defiance. They can take our flags, our futures, but not this us, carved in bone. Evelyn's sobs joined Alex's cries, a duet of grief. Harlan reached for her hand, and after a beat, she took it, The first bridge across the chasm. Dylan watched from the sidelines, heart swelling with a fierce pride. This was America, raw and redemptive, the heartland's hidden pulses beating toward light. As the room quieted, Hunter pulled Dylan close, murmuring, "We got this," into his hair. But betrayal's shadow lingered, a serpent in the garden, waiting to strike again. The next morning dawned crisp, the first nip of autumn in the air, leaves turning gold like alchemical promise. Dylan bundled Alex for a walk to the creek, the stroller bumping over ruts, Hunter trailing with coffee mugs. They settled on a log, the water gurgling secrets of its own, and for a moment, peace reigned. Alex splashing chubby feet, Hunter's arm around Dylan's waist, the world reduced to this verdant bubble. "Tell me about your Elias stories," Dylan said softly, leaning into Hunter's solid warmth. Hunter chuckled, low and fond. "Pop used to spin yarns about the city fella who couldn't ride a horse, but now I see it. The way he'd light up talking about jazz clubs, forbidden dances." Dylan nodded, eyes on the horizon. "Sounds like they had magic, even in the mess." "Yeah." Hunter's voice dropped. "Makes me think, what if we had to hide, like them?" Dylan's gaze sharpened. "We don't. That's the gift they fought for, silent as it was." But as they headed back, a truck rumbled up the drive. Uncle Ray, Evelyn's brother, face thunderous, clutching a manila envelope. Heard the gossip. Came to set things straight. His eyes flicked to Dylan, cold as January. "This family's got enough scandals without digging up graves." Inside, the envelope spilled its contents. More letters, these from Elias's sister, postmarked Chicago. Ray had found them in his attic, inherited after her death. "Proof," he spat. "That Harlan drove him away. Eli wrote her, beggin' for money to escape the shame. Blames your grandpa." Evelyn gasped, Harlan paling in his chair. Hunter's fists clenched, the betrayal twisting anew. Not just Harlan's secrets, but the family's complicity in silence. "Ray, this ain't. Save it." Ray jabbed a finger at Dylan. "And you pardon around like it's normal. Now this? Ruinin' the Whitaker name." Dylan stepped forward, Alex fussing against him. "Normal? Love's love. Ray. Harlan's no ruin, he's a survivor." Ray stormed out, dust clouding his exit like a curse. The room spun into chaos, Evelyn retreating to her room, Harlan staring at the floor. Hunter turned to Dylan. "Eyes stormy. I need air." He fled to the fields, leaving Dylan with the wreckage, the baby's cries a echo of fractures deepening. Betrayal festered like an untended wound, infecting every corner of the farm. Ray's visit ignited a powder keg of old grievances. Phone calls from cousins laced with judgment. A canceled feed order from the co-op. Whispers at the gas station that followed Hunter like smoke. Evelyn withdrew further, her pies replaced by silent suppers, her eyes hollow with the effort of reconciling saint and sinner in her father. Harlan, confined to bed by doctor's orders, spent hours staring out the window at the harvest moon, his coughs ragged echoes of regret. Dylan bore the brunt, the outsider turned lightning rod. "It's like they're punishing you for Harlan's sins." He'd vent to Hunter in stolen moments, Alex asleep between them like a truce flag. Hunter, torn between blood and beloved, would pull him close, apologies murmured into skin. "I hate this. You and Alex, you're my everything." But words couldn't staunch the bleed. One crisp October morning, as frost silvered the pumpkin vines, Dylan uncovered the next layer of the truth. Sorting through Harlan's desk for tax forms, Evelyn's curt request, he found a hidden drawer, latched with a childhood puzzle only family knew. Inside, a stack of telegrams, faded news clippings, and a single gold band, not Harlan's wedding ring but slimmer, engraved with E and H, eternal. The telegrams dated to 1969, Elias in San Francisco, urging Harlan west. The winds are changing. Come claim our life. Clippings from the Chronicle, early pride marches, Stonewall echoes rippling to the coast. And a draft letter, never sent, Harlan's scrawl confessing, I chickened out. Eli. The farm needs me. Evie needs me. But God, the nights without you. Dylan's hands trembled as he pieced it together. Harlan hadn't just hidden love. He'd chosen duty over desire, a sacrifice that echoed in every furrow of this land. But the gold band, Elias's, a proposal deferred, it humanized the myth, made Harlan not a villain, but a man crushed by era's unyielding. He shared it with Hunter that afternoon, in the quiet of the hayloft, dust motes dancing in sunbeams like fireflies at noon. Look at this, Dylan said, holding up the ring. Caught the light, winking like a promise. Hunter slipped it on his pinky, too loose, his face a map of emotions. He was gonna leave it all? For him, almost. Dylan's voice was gentle, probing. What does that say about choice? About us? Hunter paced the loft, boots thudding on planks worn by generations. Says he broke his own heart. And now Ray's twistin' it, makin' Pop the bad guy to cover his own bigotry. The climax brewed that weekend, at the annual Harvest Festival in Town Square, corn mazes, hayrides, the scent of caramel apples thick as nostalgia. The Whitakers went as a show of unity. Harlan in his wheelchair pushed by Evelyn. Alex in a pumpkin costume gurgling at the lights. Dylan and Hunter walked hand in hand, a deliberate defiance, their rings glinting under string lights. But Ray was there, beer in hand, flanked by a gaggle of kin nursing grudges. Well, if it ain't the Rainbow Brigade, he slurred, loud enough for heads to turn. Come to celebrate your pervy grandpa? Hunter stiffened, stepping forward. Back off, Ray. This family's got enough hurt without your poison. Ray laughed, bitter as burnt coffee. Hurt? You queers brought it, digging up dirt, flaunting it. Elias ran 'cause Harlan couldn't keep his hands off. Letter says so. And now you, corruptin' the boy. He jabbed at Alex, who wailed in Dylan's arms. The crowd murmured, a tide of judgment swelling. Evelyn's face flamed, Harlan gripping his chair arms white-knuckled. Dylan rocked Alex, fury coiling low. You don't know shit about love, right? Harlan chose this family, chose you over everything. That's courage, not corruption. Ray lunged, fist raised, but Hunter caught his wrist, muscles honed by labor straining. Touch them, and you're done here. They grappled, a brief, ugly scuffle, until the sheriff, old Tom Greer, who'd farmed adjacent for decades, pulled them apart. Enough, take it home. Boys. The drive back was a funeral procession, silence broken only by Alex's hiccuping sobs. At the farm, Harlan demanded a family council in the living room, fire crackling in the hearth like accusatory fingers. Ray's lying, he declared, voice gaining strength. That letter from Eli's sister? Forged in spite. She hated me, blamed me for telling her brother. But I got proof. From his robe pocket, he produced a cassette tape, labeled in faded marker, for H.R. Song, 1972. Evelyn frowned. Dad. What's? Play it. Harlan nodded to the old boombox on the sideboard. Dylan hit play. The room filling with crackly guitar, Joni Mitchell's A Case of You, Elias's voice overlaying, tenor clear as a bell. Harlan, if you're hearing this, no, I never ran from you. From them, yes, the hate, the hiding. But our love is the truest thing I owned. Wear the ring. Live for us. A pause. Then P.S. Tell Evie her old man's a romantic fool. Love ya. Tears streamed down Evelyn's face, the betrayal unraveling like cheap yarn. He recorded that for you. Harlan nodded, eyes shining. Mailed it after a show. I listened till the tape wore thin. He looked at Ray, who'd slunk in uninvited, face ashen. You kept this, brother-in-law? Hid it to protect the family honor? Ray deflated, mumbling, thought it was best. Keep the crazy locked away. Best, Hunter roared, rising. You lied, spread poison on a ghost's words. The room erupted, Evelyn berating Ray, Harlan pleading for peace, Alex's cries a piercing underscore. Dylan pulled Hunter aside, into the kitchen, hands framing his face. Breathe, love. This is the storm breaking. Hunter sagged against him, the fight draining like floodwater. I almost lost it. For them. For us. You didn't. Dylan's kiss was salt and solace, deep and anchoring. We're the steady ones now. Outside, Ray drove off into the night, tail lights fading like regrets. Inside, the family circled Harlan's chair, hands linking in a tentative chain. Evelyn kissed her father's cheek. I'm sorry, Daddy. For judging, he patted her hand. No sorries. Just forward. But as embers died in the grate, Dylan caught Harlan's eye, a nod of shared understanding. Two men who'd loved against odds, their stories intertwining like roots under soil. The truth, once a blade, now promised healing, if they dared tend the scars. Yet conflict simmered beneath the mend. Hunter woke the next dawn to Evelyn in the barn, forking hay with furious strokes. Can't sleep, she admitted, sweat beading her brow. Feels like the farm's cursed now. Secrets everywhere. Hunter leaned on a post. Or blessed. Pop story, it's ours too. Makes us stronger. She paused, pitchfork trembling. Strong enough for Alex? Growing up with this? With love, he echoed Dylan. That's the only curse worth breaking. She nodded, slow as sunrise, and they worked side by side, the rhythm a bomb. But Ray's shadow loomed. Whispers reached Hunter at the elevator. Ray rallying kin for a family intervention, threatening to sell his share of the land, splinter the inheritance. The farm, Harlan's legacy, hung by a thread, betrayal's final twist threatening to unravel it all. Dylan sensed the gathering clouds, sketching storm fronts in his notebook while Alex napped. We fight smart, he told Hunter that evening, over meatloaf reclaimed from the fridge. Not with fists, with truth. Hunter grinned, weary but wicked. My city slicker, plannin' a revolution? Something like. Dylan's foot nudged his under the table, spark reigniting. For Harlan. For Elias. For every hidden heart. As November winds stripped the trees bare, the couple stole a night away. Motel on the edge of town. Anonymous as a dream. In the queen bed, neon flickering through curtains, they rediscovered each other. Bodies a language of forgiveness. Hands mapping familiar territories with renewed hunger. I love you, Hunter gasped. Dylan's name a prayer on his lips. Through every storm, always, Dylan whispered back, their climax a quiet thunder, releasing tensions coiled tight. Back at the farm, renewal stirred. Harlan, stronger on his feet, shared more tales by the fire, Elias's laugh, their coded telegrams. Evelyn listened, thawing, even baking Elias's rumored apple strudel from a pilfered recipe. Alex, oblivious, gummed a toy tractor, his giggles the soundtrack to mending. But Ray's ultimatum arrived by certified mail. Sell out or be outed, your choice. Deviance, the word scorched, a slur from a brother's pen. Hunter crumpled it, rage boiling. He wants war? We'll give him one. The ultimatum hung over the farm like a pall, turning holiday lights into mocking stars. Thanksgiving approached. Turkeys in the co-op flyers a bitter irony as the family fractured further. Ray's demand wasn't just financial, it was an erasure, demanding Hunter and Dylan relinquish their stake in the land. To preserve Whitaker blood, Evelyn, torn, confronted her brother at the diner, coffee sloshing as she jabbed a napkin-wrapped finger. Blood? You're the one bleeding us dry with hate. Ray's face purpled. Protectin' the name. Evie. Dad, God rest him, wouldn't abide this fairy tale. She slapped the table. Dad's the one who lived it. Silent, but true. And Harlan? He's family. All of them. Word ricocheted back, escalating the siege. Cousins emailed petitions for a vote on the farm's future, veiled threats of disinheritance. Harlan, overhearing from his porch vigil, wheezed a laugh. Puppets on Ray's string. Always was a bully, that one. Hunter paced the kitchen, phone in hand, dialing lawyers in Omaha. We fight legal, he told Dylan, who nodded, already researching queer rights precedents on his laptop, Alex gnawing a teething ring nearby. But emotionally, that's the real battle. Dylan closed the screen, pulling Hunter onto the couch. Then we lean in. Show 'em love wins. His hands roamed, unbuttoning flannel with intent, turning strategy into seduction. Hunter yielded, their lovemaking a defiant right, slow, deep, reclaiming agency in gasps and grips. Afterward, tangled and sated, Dylan traced Hunter's jaw. Remember our first Omaha night? Drunk on possibility. Hunter smiled into his neck. Yeah. Vowed we'd build something unbreakable. Now's the test. The climax detonated at Thanksgiving dinner, the long oak table groaning under turkey, yams, and tension. Ray arrived uninvited, kin in tow, 5 faces grim as gravestones, including cousin Lila, who'd once babysat Hunter. Harlan presided at the head, frail but fierce, Evelyn at his side, Dylan and Hunter flanking with Alex in a highchair, smashing peas like victory drums. Blessings faltered as Ray stood, envelope in hand. Before we eat, a toast to tradition. He unfolded the document, voice oily. I've drawn papers. Sign over your shares. Hunter. Let real Whitakers run this place. Murmurs rippled. Lila shifted uncomfortably. Harlan's fork clattered. Sit down, Raymond. Ain't no tradin' family like cattle. Ray sneered. Family? The circus? With your bastard secrets and their bedroom games. Hunter surged up, chair scraping. Games? We've poured sweat into this dirt. Dylan designin' the co-op logo. Me expandin' the fields. While you chase oil rigs in Texas. Leavin' mom to scrape by. Evelyn rose too. Voice steel. Hunter's right. And Dad, your lies don't touch his love for this land. Or us. Ray whirled on Harlan. You started it, chasin' that queer ghost. Ruinin' Mary. I found more, Eli's diary. Mailed after he died. Says you promised marriage. Then bailed. Left him broken. The room froze. Alex's spoon clanging like a gavel. Harlan's face ashed. But Dylan, quiet Dylan, stood, calm as a canvas before the brush. Mind if I see that? Ray thrust it forward. Smug. Dylan scanned the pages. His designer's eye-catching inconsistencies. The ink bleed. The handwriting slant mismatched to Elias's letters. This is a fake. Look, the date's smudged, but the paper's post-90s stock. And the script? Right-handed flourish. But Elias was lefty. Harlan's stories matched the real ones. Gasp circled. Lila snatched it, peering. Dylan's right. My print shop uses this bond. Ray, you forged it. Ray blustered. Lies. Protectin'. Betrayin'. Evelyn thundered. Tears fierce. My brother's the fraud here. Get out. All of you who came with venom. The exodus was swift. Chairs scraping. Doors slamming. Ray's curses fading into the November chill. Silence settled, broken by Harlan's chuckle. Well, damn. City boys got tricks. Dylan blushed, scooping Alex. Just paying attention. Hunter pulled him into a bear hug. Kin applauding softly. Lila staying. Others trickling back with apologies over pie. You saved us, Hunter whispered, kiss lingering. Not me. Truth did, but the emotional undercurrent swelled post-feast, as snow dusted the fields like forgiveness. Harlan called Dylan to his room that night, the space redolent of liniment and old books. Knew you were special day one, he said, pressing the gold band into Dylan's palm. Wear it for Elias. Tell him stories in your heart. Dylan slipped it beside his own ring. A double vow. I will. For both of you. Harlan's eyes misted. Love like ours. It's a revolution. Quiet as snow. You and Hunter? You're the dawn. Tears fell as Dylan embraced him. The old man's frame bird-bone fragile. Heartbeat a defiant drum. Downstairs, Hunter waited, sensing the shift. What did he say? Dylan held up the ring. That we're his legacy. Hunter's arms enveloped them both in spirit, the three men bound by threads of resilience. Evelyn joined, hugging Dylan fiercely. Thank you for seeing him, us clear. The romance deepened in the aftermath. Hunter and Dylan stealing the sleigh bed in the guest room. Snow tapping the window like Morse code of affection. Marry me again, Hunter murmured, tracing Dylan's spine. Here, under these roofs. Dylan laughed, soft and sure. Every day, cowboy. Every damn day. Their union was fire and flood. Passionate thrusts meeting tender caresses. Climax a shared sob of release. Bodies slick with sweat and certainty. I choose you, Dylan gasped. Always. In the hush after. Hunter confessed deeper fears. Thought we'd lose the farm. Lose. In the fight. Won't happen. Dylan's fingers laced with his. Love's the crop that endures. Christmas brought tentative mending. Ray's absence a void filled by Lila's carols. Neighbors dropping pies with winks. Harlan rallied, carving the bird with steady hands. Toasting to hidden heroes and open hearts. Alex, decked in reindeer antlers, babbled, Dida, splitting the word between Hunter and Dylan. A bridge of babble. Yet humanism's quiet pulse beat strongest in private graces. One eve, Dylan found Evelyn in the attic. Trunk open, letters in lap. Read 'em all, she said, voice hushed. Eli was a poet. Dad's replies. Heartbreaking. Dylan sat beside her. They loved big. In small spaces. She nodded, folding a photo. Makes me see you two different. Not strange. Sacred. Their talk stretched till stars wheeled. Mother-in-law and son forging alliance from ashes. Downstairs, Hunter tucked Alex in, singing a lullaby Harlan had hummed. Hush now, little farmer. Dreams are fields to roam. The new year dawned with legal victories. Ray's shares bought out cheap. His forgeries exposed in county court. Slinking back to Texas tail between legs. The farm stood whole. But the real harvest was internal. Evelyn volunteering at the local LGBTQ center in Lincoln. Harlan penning letters to Elias's surviving kin. Seeking closure. Hunter and Dylan's bond. Tempered in trial. Bloomed lush. Spring planting saw them in the fields. Alex in a carrier on Hunter's chest. Dylan scattering seeds like confetti. Our legacy, Hunter said. Mud to his elbows. Kissing Dylan amid furrows. Yours. Mine. Theirs. Dylan's grin was sunlit. Endless. But as blossoms unfurled, a final conflict loomed, not betrayal, but time's gentle theft. Harlan weakened, the strokes echo calling him home. Bedside vigils became ritual, family rotating shifts, stories flowing like balm. Summer's heat wave broke with thunderstorms that rattled the shutters, mirroring the tempest within Harlan's fading frame. Doctors spoke in euphemisms, palliative care, quality time, but the truth was plain. The old man's engine was sputtering, fueled now by morphine and memories. The farm, lush with corn knee-high by July, seemed to hold its breath, fireflies winking encouragement in twilight vigils. Hunter and Dylan tag-teamed nights. Alex's crib relocated to Harlan's room for what Evelyn called the full circle. The baby, sensing the gravity, quieted during story hours, wide-eyed as Harlan spun final yarns. Elias teaching him to jitterbug in a Kansas City speakeasy. Their last meeting in '78. A furtive weekend in the Badlands where Harlan finally said, I should have come sooner. You lived. Old man. Elias had replied, per the tale. That's enough. Dylan recorded them on his phone. Voice memos for Alex's future playlist. His own heart aching with borrowed grief. You're giving him peace, he told Harlan one dawn, as birdsong filtered through lace curtains. Harlan gripped his hand, ring glinting on Dylan's finger. You gave me mine, son. Lovin' my boy like you do. Fierce. Free. Tell Hunter. Proud. Tears blurred Dylan's vision. He knows. We all do. Romance, in this shadowed season, became Hunter and Dylan's lifeline. Stolen glances over coffee. Fingertips brushing in the herb garden. Nights when exhaustion yielded to urgency. One such, after a 12-hour shift, Hunter found Dylan in the shower, steam curling like desire's invitation. He stripped, joining under the spray, water cascading as hands explored, mouths met in desperate fusion. "Need you," Hunter growled, pressing Dylan against tile, entry swift and shuddering. They moved as one, rhythm a rebellion against loss, thrusts deep, gasps echoing, climax crashing like waves on shore. "Forever," Dylan panted, legs wrapped tight. "Forever," Hunter echoed, holding him through the aftershocks, water mingling with salt. Evelyn's transformation anchored them. No longer the stoic matriarch, she dove into Harlan's world, reading Elias's letters aloud to him, even driving to Chicago for a survivors' meet, returning with addresses for pen pals. Felt like family, she confessed over iced tea, Alex on her lap. Like I owed it to Mom, too. She knew, suspected. Loved him anyway. Hunter hugged her, the embrace a mending stitch. "You're the heart here, Mom." August brought the crisis, Harlan's breath a rattle in the midnight hush. The family gathered, candles flickering against monitors' glow, Alex asleep in a bassinet nearby. Harlan woke briefly, eyes seeking each face. "Evie. My girl. Raise hell, but kind." To her nod, tear-streaked. Then Hunter, leaning close. "Pop. Love you. The farm's yours always." Harlan's smile cracked. "Yours now. Build." With him, his gaze to Dylan, who squeezed Hunter's shoulder. "Will do," Dylan promised, voice thick. The baby stirred, a soft cry escaping as if in echo. Harlan reached weakly, fingers brushing Alex's cheek. "Little man. Cry loud. For the love's unspoken." The touch lingered, tender as dawn. Then his hand fell, eyes closing on a sigh. He slipped away at 4:17 a.m., the clock's tick mocking the void. Alex's wail swelled then, raw and real, piercing the grief like light through storm clouds. Evelyn collapsed into Hunter's arms, sobs wrenching. Dylan cradled the baby, rocking in rhythm with heartache. The funeral was a tapestry of textures, church overflowing with unlikely allies, co-op hands in ill-fitting suits, pride flags discreetly pinned to lapels, Ray absent but his shadow banished by community resolve. Harlan's casket, oak from the farm's edge, bore a single photo not of Mary, but a discreet double, him and Elias, young and arm in arm, smiles defiant. Pastor Ellis, who'd evolved from wary to welcoming, spoke of lives layered like fields, roots deep, blooms varied. Eulogies flowed. Evelyn's on a father's quiet strength, Lila's on hidden heroes, Hunter's raw plea. He taught me love's a harvest, plant true, reap full. Dylan spoke last, voice steady, Alex in a sling against his chest. Harlan gave us permission to love without apology. In his silence, he roared. For Elias, for us, for every heart beating under these skies. The baby cooed, a punctuation of promise, drawing soft laughs amid sniffles. Burial under the family oak. Harlan beside Mary, the ground soft from summer rains. As dirt fell, Dylan slipped the gold band into the soil, a circle completed. Hunter's hand found his, fingers entwining with Evelyn's, a chain unbroken. In the weeks after, humanism bloomed from the beer. The farm thrived, Hunter and Dylan expanding to organic co-ops. Dylan's designs branding Whitaker Roots, grown with love. Evelyn started a support group, Hearts Unearthed, sharing Harlan's letters anonymously, drawing out locals with their own buried truths, widows, veterans, kids like them. Ray sent a card, scrawled apology, forgive an old fool. Missed the pies. Evelyn replied with strudel and an open door. He came for Christmas. Tentative. Alex's sticky fingers on his beard a bridge. For Hunter and Dylan, romance matured into ritual, anniversary bonfire by the creek. Alex toddling between them, stories of Grandpa Harlan winking from the flames. One night, under Perseid stars, Hunter knelt in the grass, a new ring in hand, not proposal, but pledge. Through betrayals, storms, marry our life, every chapter. Dylan pulled him up, kiss ceiling. Already have. But yes, 1,000 times. Their lovemaking followed, on a blanket spread like an altar, bodies arching in starlight, slow explorations, whispers of vows, ecstasy a symphony of shared souls. Afterward, entwined, Alex snoring nearby in his tent. Dylan murmured, think Harlan's dancin' with Elias? Jitterbug in the clouds. Hunter chuckled, chest rumbling. Damn right. And smilin' down on us. The ending was no tidy bow, but a horizon vast as Nebraska skies, human, flawed, radiant. Betrayal's blade had carved space for deeper roots, conflict yielding to compassion, climax resolving in quiet revolutions of the heart. Alex's laughter rang through the fields, a cry not of pain, but promise, the next generation, free to love without shadows. In that American heartland, where corn whispered to wind and secrets bloomed like wildflowers, the Whitakers endured, not unbroken, but beautifully bent toward light.